Hello and welcome to Zepla HQ, where Eorzea comes to you. Today, we're going to talk about gardening. What is it? How do you do it? And should you even care? I'll go over planting, tending, and basic intercrossing. If you'd like to skip to a certain section, you may do so using the annotations. All right, let's get started. Gardening was introduced in patch 2.2. With a garden, you can grow all sorts of fruits, vegetables, herbs, nuts, chocobo foods, and even minions. If you're a botanist, you've likely found seeds in the wild that you can use in your garden. So why bother with gardening if you can just use botany? Well, because of intercrossing. Some crops cannot be gathered with botany. They can only be grown via garden intercrosses. You see, when two crops love each other very much, they can combine to produce a new type of seed. For example, later in this guide, we'll intercross prickly pineapples and old world figs to obtain Glazenut Seeds. Glazenuts don't grow out in the wild, they can only be harvested in a garden. For this reason, they're quite valuable besides being used in many high-level crafts. On my server, just one glazenut sells for about 18,000 gil, and the seeds sell for even more. But I'd hold on to them if I were you. They can be used in further crosses to yield even more valuable seeds. I know money can't grow on trees, but gil can certainly grow in a garden. Firstly, you need a housing plot. Your FC may grant you access to their garden. You can also ask a friend's permission to garden at their house using the estate sharing system. The size of your plot will determine how many garden beds you can have. In my case, I own a small house, and the largest bed available to me is a deluxe with 8 plots. Medium plots can hold 2, and large plots can hold 3. You'll also need fertilizer from a material supplier. For those living in lavender beds, take the etherite to the dappled stalls. In Goblet, go to the Goblet Exchange. And if you're living in mist, head to the Sea Gaze markets to find your material supplier. You'll also need seeds. You can find a complete seed list and many other useful resources on FFXIVgardening.com, which I'll link in the description box below. The last thing you need is soil. Since my mining skill isn't high enough to get grade 3 soil on my own, I'm stuck with a market board. Lanasian topsoil yields higher quality crops, shroud soil yields more crops. For intercrossing, you need grade 3 Thanalon topsoil. This stuff can be expensive, so work on your mining if you'd rather not spend all your money on dirt. So you've got your seeds, your land, and your fertilizer, and your soil. You're ready to start planting. As you can see, this part is very simple. Just drag and drop, and you're good to go. If you plan to intercross, be sure to plant in a clockwise direction with alternating seeds as shown in this graphic. I'll explain this in more detail in the next segment. In this example, I am intercrossing prickly pineapples with old world figs to yield Glazenut Seeds. Note how I've alternated each crop. Also note how we are only working with 2 types of crops at a time. Here you can see me fertilizing them. You can do this once every earth hour. I've read that the time needed for a crop to reach harvest decreases by 1 hour each time you do this. Obviously, it's not always possible to fertilize every single hour. I just do it whenever I can, but if you're in an FC or in a shared estate, others can fertilize too. Remember to tend your crops every day. If you don't, they can turn purple, wither, and die. This is very sad, but if you let it happen 3 times, you will not be able to harvest the crop. Thankfully, I don't have footage of this, and I hope you don't either. Just take good care of your crops and wait. Now my crops are ready to harvest. I used only Thanalon soil, tended this patch once a day, and fertilized whenever I could. I'll be saving these Glazenut seeds for a future intercrossing project, which I'll also post on this channel. I hope this guide was helpful to you. If you have any feedback or suggestions for future content, I'd love to hear it. Thank you from the HQ, and I'll see you next time.